Hey ladies and gentlemen, Garrett McLaughlin here, and in this video today I want to talk about how to improve power and explosiveness. So if you're going to run, especially if you're an endurance runner or a long distance runner, typically we tend to lose, just as we age, we're losing power, we're losing explosiveness. Those things actually prove to be very beneficial and needed as we get to our age later in life, help prevent falls, how to quickly react to catch ourselves in different positions. But then also from a performance standpoint, we want to be able to have that quickness and that explosiveness. That's how we pop up from chairs. That's how we run, push off, and propel ourselves up hills. So power is so, in my opinion, it's so overlooked. We're always focusing on strength. We're always focusing on range of motion, when power could be that really key principle to see good results long term. So rather than overcomplicating this, what I recommend for a lot of people, and it's going to be interesting, right? As you try this, you're going to be surprised at how hard this has become. Not just from a power standpoint, but from a neuromuscular standpoint to control opposite arm and opposite leg. When I test people, a lot of times I'll do like locomotion testing for people. Look how they skip, look how they move from point A to point B. A lot of times when we're doing return to run testing, coming back from a stress reaction or a stress fracture, I want to see how do they load into that affected area of the body. Can they handle stress? And that's why I get the opportunity to see them move and perform locomotion drills. If not, it's usually the part of a lot of people's dynamic warm-up. But from a running standpoint, just incorporating before you run 2 to 3 minutes worth of locomotion. It doesn't take a lot. I think a lot of people are doing nothing. A lot of people are standing around before they run. They're stretching. They're doing this simple flexibility stuff to warm up. In reality, we're not warming up. We're maybe lengthening a tissue for a second. I'm not sure that necessarily matters for running since there's not a whole lot of range of motion. In fact, what we should be doing is probably actually actively warming up the tissues and working on some of these basic plyometrics and locomotion drills. So for instance, just to show you a couple that I think I would definitely recommend you testing out and see how you do with them. Low skips, A skips, power skips, lateral straight leg bounds. Those are 4 that come to mind which can be very effective for you. Again, I'm not saying go add a whole 60-minute strength training session. I'm just saying, hey, 3 times a week before you run, I want you to add this into your warm-up. Take 2 minutes, prepare for that run with the good warm-up, and I think you'll notice the difference. So just to show you through a small distance here, first thing, low skips, quiet on the feet, opposite arm, opposite leg. That's what you notice here for these skipping drills. Opposite arm and opposite leg move together. Depending on how much space you have, ideally if this was me going out to run, I'd probably do the whole length down and back once or twice and be done. I always tell people about 10 to 15 yards or so. Okay, that's our first one. Think about what's happening here. As we land, we're trying to quickly kind of pop off the ground. So we're using these muscles, the springiness of the muscles, using tendons as springs to land, absorb force, but then create a little power and explosiveness as we come off the ground. Next one, A skip. So we're coming up a little bit bigger, higher knee drive, a little more explosive into the ground. So there's a little more force on this one. Okay, after that we can go power skips. Right? Just working on that springiness. Think about as you used to grow up. Use the pogo stick probably. You don't see those as much now, but landing and quickly exploding off the ground. And then obviously adding something lateral here. Lateral, straight leg bound. My heels never touching the ground. Driving from the outside of the hip, working on some of those glute muscles. Frontal plane motion, calf, lower leg. All of those. So if you have a driveway, if you have a section of street there that's quiet or sidewalk, this can be a very helpful component of your pre-run routine. It also really addresses that area of power, explosiveness, tendon stiffness. All of those things are super important for good running, but also later in life, preventing falls, quickly reacting to things, playing with your kids, hiking up and down hills, like all of that is really relevant here. So I think adding some type of locomotion before your runs is not just helpful from a running standpoint, but I think can play value and have a lot of value as you go through your life. We tend to lose power quite a bit as we age, so we can offset that and preserve that as best as possible. We're only going to see better health and longevity for years to come.